Hello and welcome to another episode of Your Soul Essentials. And today we have a live podcast. And my guest on my virtual table is Evelyn Izaks. And I want to introduce Evelyn for the watchers and the listeners to this podcast who don't know Evelyn. And Evelyn is also known by her soul name, Lamirra SiRa, is a Reiki practitioner and the author of both spiritual and fantasy novels. With her hybrid dragon and Lyran soul alignment, she is widely known as a spiritual nomad dedicated to grit work and energetic purification. In addition to her contributions to various podcasts and collaborative projects, Evelyn shares her channeled readings on her own YouTube channel, and this is called Starlight Channeling, where she offers unique inspiration through multidimensional messages. Starlight Channeling is a unique out-of-the-box embodiment of the New Earth paradigm. And her work also weaves in the developments from archaeology and historical research, blending them with astrological and intuitive insights, forming a bridge between ancient wisdom and future consciousness. Welcome, Evelyn. It's lovely to see you here in the podcast, and I'm really, really eager to do this podcast with you about a very, very interesting theme, and it is called the Shapley Attractor. Welcome, Evelyn.
Thank you. It's a joy to be here.
Yeah. Evelyn, you also had some experience and manifestation with the Shapley Attractor. And how did you first in contact came with the Shapley Attractor, and what did it awaken in your personally? Could you tell us to the listeners?
Yes, I for a very long time was not aware that I have several strong connections with the Shapley Attractor. And then I did a quantum soul reading. You really assisted with that towards me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the strongest alignment with the Shapley Attractor in my Saturn, conjunct in the Shapley Attractor. So that is a literal incarnation.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that's such a powerful force that is, for me personally, more big or powerful or than any other incarnational aspects, because it is for me connected with source energy, the black hole, but also the gravitational anomaly. So it is so incredibly strong.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to work with that has been a challenge for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I had to really start with small steps.
Mm-hmm. Did you experience the energy of the Shapley Attractor as a deep soul attraction for you?
Yes, and mainly because I initially was not fully aware
Mm-hmm.
of how powerful the Shapley Attractor is for me personally. So although I was doing a lot of other work, it actually pulled me in to fully embrace who I am and bring that forward.
Wow.
So that's really an unexpected twist of faith.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
Okay. As for the watchers, I really want to briefly explain what a Shapley Attractor is. And maybe you heard of the name Julia Belas and Philip Sedgwick. Those two persons have really massive information about the Shapley Attractor and all the other stages. But what is the Shapley Attractor in briefly, in summary? Um, the heart of our universe is like the galactic center, and it is like a spiral that it weaves through the center of our universe. And the first stage of a really big and beautiful energy, it's called the galactic center. Then you go to a second stage, it is a super galactic center. The energy is more bigger and faster and much more intenser. And then you have the third stage, it's called the great attractor. That energy is again much more bigger and yeah, much more deeper. And then at the last stage, so far, we have the Shapley Attractor. And along with Evelyn, I am from my own meaning that um, there is more to after the Shapley Attractor, which is much more denser and much more stronger and much more, yeah, also inspirational in energy. But I think as long as the humankind here on Earth is not that ready to embrace that fast energy, I think along the way and along the near future, those information will come to our humans. And um, how did you experience that, Evelyn, in your own life, that you had a connection with Saturn and the Shapley Attractor? Did that went a few situations in your life that you thought, oh, okay, that is from that connection what I have? Or was it totally, totally new for you?
Well, in hindsight, I've always had that connection. So it was, in a way, almost like a revelation
Mhm,
in hindsight that it made a lot of sense for me.
mhm,
That as a child, I could suddenly blurb out a certain geometry, and the adults were all surprised, for example. And
mhm,
I have no idea where it came from. I just blurted it out, and everyone was surprised.
mhm,
One of the most recent, very strong conjunctions was when I went to Scotland. I felt the heart call
mhm.
to go to Scotland, and I knew it was connected with working with the dragons in the land.
Oh, wow.
And so I collaborated with a couple of people over there.
Mhm,
And at some point, I we did energy work. I opened a portal, and something was brought back.
mhm.
It was essentially a soul retrieval for myself, connected with the solar dragon Queen Merida. That particular day was exactly when the Shapley Attractor was conjunct in Scorpio.
Oh, wow. I get you.
So, yeah, so that was really extremely powerful. And yeah, there are, when I wasn't even fully aware yet that I had that, I knew it was there,
Mhm,
but I didn't really was aware what the impact or the significance of it was.
okay.
My connection with the Shapley Attractor um, was when I actually sort of remembered that I could feel four other um, yeah, star black holes. I don't know how to,
Mhm,
um, like you said, there are more than the four that have been discovered so far, but I picked up four others. So so far that I have tuned in, there are eight. Four have been discovered.
mhm,
The other four are still to be discovered.
mhm,
But the Shapley Attractor is, um, the portal to the other four that are connected with other multi-dimensional realms, parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. And on that day when you were in Scotland,
Yeah.
was it that for you personally, in your own manifestation as a human being with knowledge of your own dragon lineage, did it open for you a portal personally as well, for your knowledge and your maybe deeper emotions?
Well, that's an interesting question because as I was flying to Scotland,
Uh-huh.
as I was in the airplane, there was a lot of turbulence. There was a lot of noise on the radio. There was a geomagnetic storm going on. And I looked out of the window and I saw a portal, literally. And I was basically escorted by dragons in the sky. And every time there was strong turbulence, I used my dragon energy to stabilize the plane so we could land safe. So that whole flight, I had to be on alert because every time I was sort of drifting away
Mm-hmm.
as a human,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the turbulence would ramp up.
Oh.
So, and it's sort of a funny joke that before we took off, the pilot announced, "Yeah, this is going to be a bumpy ride." So the first 20 minutes on the flight, you could feel the tension. People were afraid. They were literally like holding their seats. You could feel it. And after 20 minutes, people started to get a little bit more ease. But that was really, an interesting note. And when I was in Scotland self, doing that work, working with the dragon energy, but also connecting for me with my solar dragon aspect as Queen Merida, that is connected with the Atlantean times.
Oh.
That was extremely emotional.
Wow.
That was, I almost passed out afterwards. And I'm starting to shake again, just basically remembering that it's been, what happened in that moment. And to remember that
Uh-huh.
was excruciating. It was not fun to remember,
Oh.
but it was part of a soul agreement to, at some point, return to my source point and integrate that soul retrieval so that I could actually bring forward on my, in who I am, that lost part of myself that I had no idea that the connection was there.
Mhm. How did your dragon energy and your dragons react on uh, the situation on that day when you were in Scotland?
Ooh, um,
Did you free them? Did you free a certain type of dragon energy or
oh, in the lens, yes,
yeah?
there. That was actually when I felt that heart call. I didn't know why,
Okay.
but I was supposed to work together with other people. So I went over there, and there were a couple of, literally a couple of adult dragons in a huge mountain,
Oh.
and there was close by a nursery with very young, almost barely born baby dragons, and behind us was a huge mountain with a baby dragon. That was the dragon that sent me the heart call. So the first 2 nights, I felt this frantic panic. The first 2 nights, I woke up like I felt this panic and fear, and I knew this is not my fear, quote unquote. So after doing that work, the dragons were free to go.
Mhm.
The panic from the baby dragon was gone. They are no longer pinned down.
Oh, okay.
Um, the adults are free to go, and the young baby dragons in the nursery are free to go as soon as they are
evolved into adulthood and can.
But what I was getting mainly was how they chose to stay for the time being to support the land.
Okay. Wow.
So it's very, and I just realized that why would they, or basically mainly the baby dragon sent that heart call towards me. Why would that baby dragon connect to me personally? Because that is my source point. That's where I came into the earth plane. The first incarnation ever.
Okay.
It's where I embody who I am.
Okay. So there was a sort of a connection that was known.
Yeah.
By the baby dragon.
They felt, they recognized me.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Great.
But that's only something that I realized in hindsight.
Yeah.
Before I went there, I had no clue that there was even a connection with Scotland whatsoever.
Okay. Evelyn, how do you personally experience the Shapley Attractor frequency in your life, and then particularly in your body, with your emotions, and in your creativity?
In my body, now I'm actually, it can literally feel like I'm shaking, like I am now, because I set the intention, of course, to do this live podcast. So it can really manifest as shaking because it is so extremely powerful. It also manifests in bringing forth messages during my channeling. But more often than I was aware of, I'm picking up on a lot of future quote unquote energy. So it takes about 6 months or even longer before something that I'm bringing forward is ready to be received. And one of the lessons I had to learn is to not interfere with someone's soul growth and evolving into their own spiritual path. Because if I do that, then I'm actually undermining their own soul mission. And that's not for me. So I had to learn that. And for me, in the creativity, writing my books, I can literally channel stuff in from experiences in this lifetime or past lifetimes, for example, from galactic lives. Something else that I picked up recently is we often refer to the Akashic records as there is only one. My experience is that the hall of records, the Akashic records, is not one hall. There are multiple, and that makes so much sense because we exist in a multiverse, but we often look outwards as if this is one universe. But there are so many others. So sometimes people will say, well, I don't resonate with something. And that's true. That's their truth. And that truth is completely valid because my Akashic records, my personal, can be different from yours or anyone else because there are several. There's not just one.
Yeah. Evelyn, you talked just about that you are not supposed to be interfering in someone else's soul mission. But how can we use the Shapley Attractor energy or frequency as a mirror for our soul's authenticity? And what does it reflect back to us when we are out of alignment? Did you have some experiences about that?
Well, I've had a couple of experiences where people automatically feel drawn to connect with me because they feel and sense that I can bring something forward. But the risk is that they sometimes put me on a pedestal. But if I mention something, that can also trigger them, because the Shapley Attractor is sometimes referred to as a black hole or a gravitational anomaly,
Mhm.
but it's also a mirror. So it mirrors the light, but also the shadow.
Mhm.
And so that's for me personally, and
Mhm.
I'm aware of that. And it can suddenly happen that someone is being triggered by me being authentic, by me embodying that frequency of the Shapley Attractor. Because for me personally, that's how I feel. I feel with that incarnational aspect
Mhm.
that I actually am a part of the Shapley Attractor. So I will mirror something sometimes without realizing. And this can even happen with animals.
Ah,
I've
interesting.
had it with, yeah, I've had it with a dog, where I was at a friend, and one of the dogs knows me very well and the other one didn't know me.
Mm.
So as I was just cuddling those dogs without any forewarning, because dogs often give give a certain signal
Mhm.
that something is off, like in their body language or energy. And the doggy that actually didn't know me
Mhm.
got triggered by my energy. So as I was petting the other one tried to attack me
Oh.
full at my face.
Oh.
And as I was energetically putting up a boundary, like, no, oh, no. The funny thing is that the dog that I was stroking was
Yeah.
still wiggling it still. It was almost like they were both in a different dimension. Like the one dog didn't notice that the other one tried to attack me. I was in the in between,
Mhm.
and they were both basically mirror connecting with that mirror,
Mhm. Oh
and
wow.
that showed up.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
and dogs often absorb a certain vibration. So me connecting or holding that vibration with the Shapley will also mirror someone else, or in this particular case, a certain vibration from an animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And very often the assumption is that dogs will only lash out when people are energetically
Mhm.
off. But since I am literally a walking mirror, sometimes without realizing it, this can also, and especially with dogs, I don't have this often with cats, but especially dogs, because they absorb it more faster
Yeah.
than other animals, they are more likely, if they get triggered, to react and lash out.
Mhm.
And I'm aware that it's not my energy, it's not my trigger, so I can put up a boundary. But yeah, that's something that can be particularly strange.
Mhm.
Um, Another example is when I'm collaborating or working with a certain project or whatever, that sometimes I'm bringing forth certain information
Mhm.
and I'm quote unquote my time ahead. So I am either um, sometimes being nudged by my guides, like, no, 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 not yet.
Okay.
And sometimes when people do get triggered,
Yeah.
because for whatever reason, they can lash out. And that is okay, because I can have that boundary and say, this is not mine.
Mhm.
At the same time, sometimes I'm really pulled back into my own energy that I am not supposed to bring forward.
Yeah.
Why? There is a misalignment.
Mhm.
And if I may elaborate a little bit more, working with the Shapley Attractor,
Yeah. Of course. Go
because the creativity, writing, doing my channeled readings, I had to really become more conscious that as I am literally like a sponge,
Yeah.
everything is being absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to have a certain discernment to pull away from a lot of social media.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I am doing my channeled readings.
Mm-hmm.
You can send me an email, but I'm not basically on social media anymore for the sake of having a spiritual hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to jump through hoops in a way to do all kind of rituals or self-care nursing, but in a way that is part of my spiritual hygiene to not um, put a different or a disturbance of a wavelength on my own wavelength.
Yeah.
So I had to make that call. And sometimes I can understand if people are like, well, where did she go?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is she off grid? No, I'm not off grid, but I had to make a choice to have my own energy more clear and cleansed from the external band noise and stuff. Exactly. My birdie is like, yes, because then I get unnecessarily upset. And
Yeah.
I will already feel when something is happening.
Yeah.
I will feel when there is a huge earthquake. I will feel when there is a huge solar flare coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I already I don't watch television anymore for years now.
Okay.
And that makes a lot of sense in hindsight. But
Mm-hmm.
again, the social media, I had to actually make a choice about it. Like, yeah, this is not for me. It's toxic. It's
It's overloading energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Now you are aware of the Shapley Attractor energy, and you learned how to deal with that, how to become a mirror for another person, and what you already told about maybe for animals too. Um, has that connection changed? That the people are now having more awareness, or even not more awareness, but in your reaction, reaction towards the people, are you more conscious in that you are aware of your own Shapley Attractor energy frequency?
Yeah, I'm starting laughing because we did a Dutch podcast on
Yeah.
the Shapley Attractor. So after that, a lot more insight came through for me too.
Okay,
That's why
that's
I
great.
started laughing. Um, yeah, for sure that I am actually working way more with the Shapley Attractor,
Wow, great.
even more um, than before the Dutch version of the podcast about the Shapley Attractor.
Mhm. Okay.
But the consequence is also that I'm way more aware
Mm-hmm.
that certain things that are directed towards me,
Okay.
whether it is light or shadow,
Mm-hmm.
because that's both illuminated and like there's a spotlight on it. Um, that is something that I'm way more aware of.
Okay.
That if I walk somewhere and someone is friendly and suddenly, without any forewarning, starts cussing at me on the street, then I'm aware, okay, this is because I am embodying the Shapley.
Mm-hmm.
They don't respond to me as a human, they
Mm-hmm.
respond on my energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to not take that personally and then to, okay, I'm giving this back. It's not mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but also with a positive um, alignment or alignment, is that the right word?
Yeah.
No, with a positive aspect
Mm-hmm.
or light aspect, I can channel readings, which I do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is such a powerful reading
Mm-hmm.
that I get emotional.
Wow.
Yeah. and for example, I don't do my channeled tarot readings. I do sometimes connect it with a zodiac, but I
Yeah.
always put the intention that it is connecting for any placement. So wherever you have that particular zodiac, that's where it will resonate the most. I don't want people to just pinpoint on only their sun or their rising sign or their moon sign. I want them to be, if possible, aware where a certain zodiac is more prominently in the energy so that they can attune to that.
Yeah.
And for example, the last reading about Pisces, I could feel the emotions out of suddenly it came in and I was flushed with I
Wow.
was crying.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I
Wow.
was actually surprised how powerful it came in.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
still, I choose to upload it because it is authentic, because it is real. I can't bluff my way through. Um, if I'm only going to upload certain videos that are, I would say, happy peppy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or I don't do love readings, for example.
Yeah.
The purpose of me doing tarot readings, or basically it's channeling. The
Mm-hmm.
tarot for me is using a physical um, translator
Mm-hmm.
from what I'm getting through from the Shapley. It
Mm-hmm.
will help to be more visible in the physical.
Okay. Wow.
Because simply for the sake that I'm picking it up doesn't mean that, in a way, it's like a mediator.
Mm-hmm.
So the tarot or the for example, a crystal sphere is a mediator to
Yeah.
bring forth what I'm picking up.
Oh, great. Well, by the way, for the listeners, the link for Evelyn's channel is in the description box. You can find it. And at the end of this podcast, we have a little surprise for you. So stay tuned. um, so, Evelyn, did you feel for yourself that you grown much more into the energy of the Shapley Attractor?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I am. When I initially connected with the Lyran and the
Mm-hmm.
dragon energy, I sort of was like, okay, that's big,
Mm-hmm.
that's powerful, that's straightforward, like douche. It was just a prelude for what was to come.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it's not always easy because it also happens that I pick up on a potential timeline
Uh-huh.
that doesn't have to occur,
Uh-huh.
or that I pick up on a timeline that is not even from this universe.
Okay.
So having that memory. So I have to be discerning when I mention something,
Mm-hmm.
when to bring it forward.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the beautiful things, my birdie is like singing, I love that. She's my little mirror. Um, is that using tarot
Mm-hmm.
makes it more smooth.
Okay.
It's a more gentle and softer way
Mm-hmm.
to work with the Shapley Attractor. So people that actually connect or resonate with my readings might not be aware that they automatically, indirectly connect with the Shapley, but they do.
Yeah. You embody that what the Shapley Attractor is yeah, inspiration, as an inspiration giving you. You bring
Yeah,
that forward through your tarot cards for the one who is resonating with that particular channeling card spread, and he or she can take what resonates and leave the rest for another person. Is
yeah,
that correct? Okay.
yes.
And your dragon energy and also your single born twins energy, like you are a part of a four multiple born twin, and
Mhm.
they are also dragon energies. How is that going together with the energy of the Shapley Attractor? Is it going smoother? is it going like act as one embodiment, or are there still different layers in it?
I am getting more and more that they integrated within me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Because actually, the more I consciously work with the Shapley Attractor,
Mhm.
the more it is expanded in the spaces in between. So
Wow.
in a way, the more I like the Shapley Attractor on itself is huge, it's
Mhm.
big,
Mhm.
but being that human embodiment,
Mhm.
it takes inner empowerment to bring it forward. So me expanding my energy is actually um, is giving the space and the room for my unborn siblings
Mhm.
to come back and realign within my um, energy fields.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Lovely to hear. Yeah. And the time that you wrote your books, I think
Mhm.
it was beginning this year, maybe at the end of last year. Um, there is a time between that time period and now. And as you said, after our Dutch podcast about the Shapley Attractor, you got another download and information to integrate and embody within yourself. How was it for you on the first time that you were gently, or maybe not gently guided to write or wrote your own first book? How was that
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah. The first book was actually Dragonheart, Atlantis Codex, the Dutch version.
I love that book.
Yeah. That was not exactly a gentle nudge. It
Okay.
was basically my dragon essence, or like pushing me off the cliff.
Okay.
Because I started writing, and it was right after I had done and worked together for uh, a meditation, a global meditation. But I already received the message like, you need to write a book. And I'm like, okay, can I just finish this first?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I started writing, and all of a sudden, it's like, it's good like this. Finish it, wrap it up,
No.
publish it today. I'm like, whoa. Can I just maybe add some other stuff? No. Now, today. So I had to take a leap of faith. It wasn't a gentle nudge.
Mhm.
I was basically pushed off a cliff. I had no idea. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so yeah, I that was really, I think, a big test from my dragon essence. Like, you're gonna jump, you're gonna take a quantum jump, you're gonna fly now.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm like, now, yeah, now, today.
Wow. Wow.
And then, yeah,
How many books did you write up till now?
oh my goodness. Only the Dutch or also the
All
translation?
all the translation and the Dutch. I think a few. Five?
Yeah, Dragonheart is
Uh-huh.
in English and in Dutch. First in Dutch, then in English. Chiron is only in Dutch. Then there is the Blue Dragons of Akanar.
Wow.
That's in Dutch and English. Then I have um, um, Albion, which is an actually only it's not on paper.
Mhm.
And I wrote 3 fantasy novels,
Wow.
both Dutch and English.
And all from the inspiring of the Shapley Attractor energy.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So whether it is connected with my experience with the dragon
Mm-hmm.
essence, or working with Chiron,
Mm-hmm.
or from my own Akashic record, stepping into galactic timelines with Akanar
Mm-hmm.
and the Lyran Wars, and
Wow.
how I was involved in that. That's not clear for the reader who I am, but that doesn't matter. I
Mm-hmm.
was allowed to channel it.
Okay.
Albion is actually about my trip in Scotland. Um, and the fantasy novels are basically a free float of, I don't know how to. It's a channels, yes, because but it's fantasy. It's
Mm-hmm.
I know it exists somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It does, but for me, it was a joy to write it, because maybe although it not be real, quote unquote, in this
Mm-hmm. Playing.
physical realm, it still exists somewhere else. So is it fantasy or is it a channeling? I'm not sure. I think both. They're both.
And I think for the reader, when it resonates with the reader, he or she can pick out what he or she needs
Yeah.
for that moment. So I think those books are really also written with a purpose.
Yeah. And at the moment, I'm recalibrating on how to um, keep them available.
Mhm.
So I am sort of looking for a different way to. Um, at the moment, they are not available.
Okay.
They're not gone,
Mhm.
but I'm looking for.
A way to bring them out in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So,
So they're not gone, but they're currently not available to purchase.
okay. So
But
they're
I'm working on
on that.
finding them.
Okay. So they have to stay tuned.
Exactly.
Evelyn, could the Shapley Attractor be seen as a cosmic compass for those walking the path of soul embodiment and planetary service? What do you think of this in your own experience?
I'm
Because you have the experience already, huh? You you were aware that there was some vast and big energy frequency, and now you connected with that. You you know now your way to bring it out in the world, and also when it is like 6 months for the receiver after you bring it out in the world, because that is how the Shapley Attractor works. Or maybe tell this question in another form. What do you want to give to the listener and maybe the reader of your books as when they are starting for themselves with working from the Shapley Attractor energy? Are there some tips? Are there some guidance that you want to have, or yeah, that you have for them?
I would like to answer this question
Mhm.
in two parts.
Okay.
The first part is about the compass.
Hmm.
That's an interesting dynamic, because I actually have been working with the medicine wheel for a while.
Hmm.
I'm not no longer doing that at this moment in time, but I have been doing that for a while. And so at some point I had to sort of attune to, okay, where is the north, the east, where are the four corners? So I needed a compass,
Hmm. Okay.
but that whole compass went be based. I had no idea that it was because of my energy, but what now I realized that my energy was so strong that the compass couldn't. Um, it went sort of,
Crazy.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's one aspect. That
Uh-huh.
is how people that have a strong alignment with the Shapley attractor, you might not even be aware how you even affect, for example, a compass.
Hmm.
Um,
Or maybe your machines at home.
Exactly, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, and the other one is how to start working with the Shapley is how I start grounding,
Mm-hmm.
and then I actually attune to the Shapley.
Okay.
But um, and often I visualize that I'm laying in the forest or in the grass or on the beach, being flooded by the waves or in the sand. So I'm more attuned to the earthly elements
Yeah. That works for you.
in a way that helps to actually anchor the cosmic uh, vibrations from the Shapley
Mm-hmm.
as a cosmic anchor
Mm-hmm.
into the physical realm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I can sort of attune with the intention, just having the intention to be open to receive from the Shapley, to the Shapley, what I'm allowed to receive at that moment in time.
Wow. Wow.
And I always add as an intention for my highest good and the highest good of Terra, the universe, and the multiverse.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it can be frightening when people are doing this for the first time, or be overwhelming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why the grounding is really important,
Yeah.
because when you have a strong alignment with the Shapley attractor, you are a cosmic anchor.
Yeah.
Whether you are aware of it or not, you are.
Mm-hmm.
So when you want to consciously want to attune with the frequency of the Shapley, you will. It's almost like you get energetically. It is. I can't even find a human metaphor, but it's so powerful
Uh-huh.
that to visualize the elements of earth will help me
Mm-hmm.
to to anchor it, as I am a human embodiment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the elements of earth that are grounding, the waters, the ocean, the trees, the soil, the earth, the air, will help me to um, to make it more gentle instead of very harsh.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it might feel like you get a like someone's like a boxer, like poof.
Yeah.
And instead of getting a fist on your head,
Mm-hmm.
you actually get a little slap. So
Oh.
it's a little bit, it makes it a little bit softer, a little bit less. Okay. And then you get more energetically, it becomes easier the
Yeah.
more you are in the flow of, I'm getting to not be afraid. Because often there is
Yeah.
a subconscious fear.
Yeah.
And yes, it can feel overwhelming. You can start feeling that you are shaking or that you are unable to work with it, what is coming through.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have that alignment,
Mm-hmm.
that means there is already a certain experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more you resist, the more challenges from the
Wow.
universe are put on your path, and you are
Wow.
getting poked.
Wow.
You, I'm here, pay attention. You already have the experience.
Wow.
It's time to be that cosmic anchor. Bring it in,
Wow.
because that's what the earth really needs right now. We need everyone that has a cosmic alignment with the Shapley attractor.
Mm-hmm.
Also those other three, but today is about the Shapley. We are needed because we are those cosmic anchors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone who is aware that they have that certain alignment, from my experience, I got poked like
Mm-hmm.
for real until I was taking that leap of faith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So basically you say go with the flow and go and do it. And for
Yeah.
you, the elements of the earth, the four elements are working for you. And as you said, when you are good in your grounding and you have your situation where you feel happy and safe, like a beach or in a forest, that is working for you. But I think for many listeners, they have their own situation where they are feeling comfortably and
Yeah.
safe. And is it also that as many dragon souls are now arising in this moment, can also the dragon energy help you to embody that Shapley Attractor frequency when you
Yes.
ask it?
Yes. I've for sure. That's a great question. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for that. Um, because what I have been doing is, for example, when things are overwhelming me,
Mm-hmm.
I can actually sort of curl up
Mm-hmm.
and feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if there is a certain crystal that you connect with, often a geoda, the crystals are in the inside. This is something that someone actually taught me that I'm very grateful for, and I have a lot of respect for that person, is to visualize that instead of the crystals on the inside of a geoda
Mm-hmm.
are on the outside. So you are within, and the crystal of the geoda are in the outside.
Wow.
So nothing can come at you. So you can sort of restore and rebalance and recalibrate into your own energy.
Wow.
And most of the dragons that I know are connected with a certain crystal vibration that they don't have to have that crystal at home. They can just attune to it,
Okay.
just going right before bed
Mm-hmm.
and then calming it down, making
Mm-hmm.
it more centered, more stabilized from our heart. Yeah.
Oh, great. I think the listeners would love, are really thankful for these tips and yeah, starting to work with the Shapley Attractor energy. Um, Evelyn, do you have what is there some inspiration or something coming through at this moment that you may bring to our listeners, to our viewers?
Yeah, I actually already felt called to actually connect with my favorite deck.
Okay, go ahead. The stage is yours.
Just a little heads up, FYI, when I channel with tarot, I
Mm-hmm.
use the word we.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I have a multiple personality disorder, but because I'm not separate from the collective energy. So I am part of the collective energy. So it's coming through me, but I'm part of it too. This is why I'm saying we and not just me
Mm-hmm.
or
Okay.
you.
No.
Just my birdie is laughing like ha ha ha. Okay.
Great.
Okay, what is it, spirits? Okay, yeah. Hang on.
So,
Yeah, it's a fast energy.
wow.
We are starting off with the Queen of Pentacles. And then we have the Six of Wands.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there is a herb connected with the Queen of Pentacles
Mm-hmm.
that will allow those that are watching or listening, will actually assist them with releasing the fight or flight modus of the, yep, I'm getting this one, and I'm asked to connect with that one. Yes, okay. Um, Temperance. It takes patience to work with Shapley.
Yeah.
Having self-compassion. being gentle and not be in a rush, because it takes practice. The Shapley Attractor is such an incredible strong force that if we don't honor our own divine timing, we cut ourselves with the Six of Swords.
Wow.
Okay. The outcome is the Page of Chalices. I will put this one over here. Why the Page of Chalices? I'm asked to connect with a galactic guide, oracle card. I am getting that it's connected with the Akashic records or the hall of the Akashic records. So I'm curious what's allowed to come forward. Yep, gotcha. Mars. Saturn.
Yep.
One more. Yep, I gotcha. I gotcha. And it's the Cancer. Now I can start clarifying more.
Wow.
What's actually happening. So the outcome is the Page of Chalices. For me, that's about the Akashic records, the hall of the Akashic records. Again, there's not just one. So right now, Saturn is in Aries. And Aries is ruled by Mars.
Yep.
And to rebalance that, we are allowed to bring in a self-nourishing component connected with the Cancer vibration. Otherwise, it's getting out of alignment. Gotcha. The Five of Chalices. I was wondering what was going on with the Page of Chalices or the cups. The five is change. The Five of Chalices or the Five of Cups. It's really about after having the patience, revealing our inner emotional needs, going within, self-mastery with Saturn in Aries, we can actually start bringing forward, which is the outcome, our own memory of our own Akashic records.
Wow.
And that's connected really with the huge transformational energies in regards to all the DNA activations that are happening at this moment in time.
Yes. Yes.
And Akashic records are also very much connected with Shapley Attractor. Because it's the key to other realms, but also the key to our inner remembering.
Yeah. It is that deep soul attraction. The soul is calling to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. A beautiful reading. Thank you, Evelyn. And may I thank you for your time and space. And it was really, really wonderful to have this on this podcast. And I really enjoyed it. And I hope, my dear listeners and watchers, I hope you are inspired and got really some good information how to deal with the Shapley Attractor. And if you have questions, I will leave the information where you can reach Evelyn, and also where you can have a link to her channel where she's posting every day a few transmissions. And Evelyn, do you have, or do you want to add something for our listeners?
Yes, as I was preparing for this live podcast, I already received the request from, I would say, the universe to bring forth light language.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to ask the listeners and those who are watching to take a couple of deep breaths. Be aware that you are safe. You have what it takes to receive what is required in this moment, and nothing more and nothing less. Shinaru Nairo Mari Ayu. You can always return to this light language transmission whenever you feel called. And be aware that it might take a while. It can be 6 months, it can be a year, it can be a couple of days before the insights fully are starting to blossom. But always follow and feel what you need.
Thank you, Evelyn. Wow, was a really a oh, thank you. And thank you, my dear listeners. And I hope to welcome you again with another episode somewhere in the near future from your Soul Essentials. Have a great day. Bye. Welcome, dear starseeds, to another episode of Your Soul Essentials. And on my virtual table, you no longer see or Leuk
voor de bloopers.
Ah, die is leuk. Die gaan we eruit knippen.
Blooper.